Hello and welcome to the Daily Forex Report for June 13th. We're looking at the US-Japanese yen pair first. This pair closed down during today's session, created a swing trade opportunity. We are looking for it to potentially go as high as 80.08, possibly as low as 78.95. Look for some resistance to come into the market around 79.75 and look for some support around 79.15. Now, the Euro-USD pair closed higher during today's session. Look for it to potentially go as high as 126.84, possibly down to 124.08. Look for some resistance around 126.25, and look for some support around 124.69. Now, the pound-US dollar pair closed lower, moving sideways overall. Look for it to potentially go as high as 156.46, possibly as low as 154.07. Look for some resistance around 155.98 and look for some support around 154.50. Now the US Swiss pulled back during today's session, overall moving sideways. Look for it to potentially go as high as 0.9671, possibly moving down to 0.9484. Look for some resistance around 0.9625 and look for some support to the downside around 0.9515. Now, as far as news announcements go, we do have a few news announcements being released during tomorrow's session at 3:30 a.m. Eastern. We have the Swiss National Bank rate decision for June being released. They're showing a hold at 0.00%. Then we have the Euro Central Bank publishes their July report, June monthly report at 4 a.m. Eastern. Then at 5 a.m. Eastern, we have the Consumer Price Index being released from the Eurozone as well for May. Consensus on that is that it has held at 2.4%. Then a little bit later in the morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern, we have the U.S. Consumer Price being released for May. Consensus on that is that it has dropped from 2.3% down to 1.8%, which could be good news for the U.S. dollar, considering that if it drops, that indicates that there's limited inflation in place or acting upon our economy, which would be good news. Now at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, we have the Bank of Canada publishing their financial system review. However, there's no real numbers on that, so it shouldn't affect the market too much. I know Canada's banking situation has been overall much better than the rest of the world due to their actions in 06 and 07 in getting out from doing some of the toxic loans and such. So what am I looking for during this next session as far as from a trading perspective? Well, the US-Japanese yen pair has created a swing trade opportunity. It has been moving sideways overall. You can see that it has created that right here, looking for it to break to the upside. Now, where it should go from there, we have a couple of areas to look at. We have, for a quick little scalp, we have this previous area of resistance that was created. So you could look for it to break to the upside. The only issue with that is that's about a 23 pip move, a good 20 pip scalp, but we're 32 pips away from it. The ranges have been very small, which is indicative typically of a breakout. So definitely keep an eye on that. To the downside, you could also look for a breakout of this line, looking for it to head lower. Now on the Euro-USD pair, if we take a look intra-bar or intraday on the 15-minute and zoom out a little ways, you can see that we have a trend line that has developed over a couple of sessions, and you can see that it has touched price right here, found some resistance there, here, and now here. If we look at overall what that looks like, we could see this break down to the downside. If that does happen, look to grab probably a good 20 to 30 pips off of that move fairly quick if we get a close below this line. Well, I hope that helps. And until next time, this is Jason Fielder. Good trading.